Why, hello there, people from the internet. How you doing? I hope you're well. Today we finally get to talk a little bit about EA Play. Now, what is EA Play? You're probably wondering. EA Play is basically EA's E3. They've pulled out of E3, making their own events. There's one that's going to happen in London, and there's one that's going to happen in LA. Now, it's going to be over the course of sort of 2.5 days, because it starts on the 12th, 8 o'clock at night, and it finishes on the 14th. So, technically, 2.5 days. And it's basically EA's E3. Now, what can you do there? Well, it's basically like E3. You get to play all the games. It's going to be Battlefield 1. It's going to be Titanfall 2. All the esport games and everything that EA's got planned to release later in the year. I'm hoping that you might actually see a little bit of Mass Effect and some other things out there. But that's basically it. The invites have been sent out to a lot of the community to go out and play and test game outs. Basically, the way it's going to go, it's going to be a conference with games and stuff like that, like you normally sort of see at E3, and then it's going to be another hands-on experience. So basically, it's going to have demos and just things like that where you got to sort of play and try the game. Now, I did ask, can we record sessions of the games that we're playing? And they said, well, they're not really doing that as of sort of, yep, sit down, record your 10 minutes of gameplay or whatever you're going to play, and then that's it, bring it back home. I mean, you can still take your phone with you, your camera, your GoPro, which I'm taking all of them, and I'm going to be recording as much as I can from the event, a little bit of gameplay, and I'll see whatever I can get my hands on. Now, if we're being completely honest here, the only reason I'm going is for Battlefield 1. I just want to get in there, play it. It looks amazing, and I really hope that we get to play a little bit of multiplayer. Just want to see what the single player is all about. I really hope they do follow the historical events. I think that'd be kind of cool to actually follow the war, because you could do that sort of with staged battles and things like that. It might not work in a multiplayer, but it will definitely work as a single player game. But multiplayer is really what we want to see. I mean, I do have my own concerns, and I know a lot of you might have your own concerns. How is that going to work? You know, there's not really been that many technological advances in World War One. There have been some, but when you're talking about Battlefield, you know, you need your assault rifles, you need your SMGs, your LMGs, you know, a lot of the weapons need to work in order for the Battlefield game to work. So my sort of concern is that how they're going to bridge that gap between, I mean, if you look back a couple of years, I mean, it's what, 5 years since Battlefield 3 came out, basically it's all been modern. So most of the new guys that sort of coming into the game, they're used to the Battlefield being UMAVs, UCAVs, UMAD Bro, YOLO, all that, you know, it's all lock-ons and advanced sniper rifles and this and that. There's going to be none of that in World War One. There's just not been really invented any of that. So it's kind of curious to see how they're going to sort of bridge that gap, what they're going to bring in, how they're going to keep people engaged. I mean, for those of you that have played 1942 and 1943, you know, I'm used to the bolt action weapons. I'm used to the bolt action stuff. You don't forget how to use them or how they sort of work. You just get rusty at it a little bit, and it'll come back to you in time. And that's kind of what I really want to see, how and what Battlefield 1 is going to be like, because I really don't want this to be the next Battlefront. You know, Battlefront is one of the prettiest games you'll ever play, but 2 hours later, it's just, I can't do this anymore. I'm just bored with it. You know, I really hope that's not the case, and that's one of the reasons why I'm going. So June 12th to June 14th, I'll be trying to make out as much as I can out of the event, bringing you all sorts of footage, bringing you all sorts of recordings that I can get from there, and just get basically the answers to most of the questions that you have. That once I play the game, then we can sort of dissect it a little bit more, and maybe we'll even find out when an actual beta is going to be for it. I think and I suspect. Now, they'll probably want at least a month or two to implement the changes that we're sort of going to give the feedback from the beta, so probably get around sort of August and September, since the game is coming out at the end of October. Now, if on the off chance that you did get invited to the EA Play event, you remember EA are not covering any of the expenses. You'll have to sort of provide your own transportation, your flight, your train, your bus, your car, your hotel. You're paying for all this yourself. EA are not covering all this, so if you're in Europe, yeah, it's probably going to cost you a couple of €100 to get to the event. But hey, it's the first one. You were there, and nobody can take that away from you. You know, it's the first one ever. If this is going to be the next sort of thing for EA, and they're no longer going to do E3, then at least you can say, hey man, it cost me €250 to get there, but at least I was there at the first one. It was awesome. I met some people, and it was kind of cool. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm really looking forward. Looking forward to meeting a couple of the people. So I'm going to be sort of using the Twitter. I'm going to be using Twitter and all that, so I'll sort of connect to people over there. So if you want to meet up and have a drink and just have a laugh and play a game or whatever, then we can definitely do that if you're attending. So since we're not going to cover this topic again until we actually get to see the game, it's only going to be a couple of weeks. June 12th is just around the corner. You'll have to let me know in the comments some of the things you'd like to see and some of the things that you'd want me to sort of dig into a little bit deeper. So if you've got some questions and I can try and get into some sort of footage or some sort of answers for you, then I'll definitely do that. I mean, we'll be playing more Battlefield and we'll be playing more other things, but there's no point sort of keep on speculating what the game is going to be when we're going to find out in a couple of weeks. So whatever questions you may have, now this be the video where you should be posting a comment if you want something to be dug into a little bit deeper, and I'll do as best as I can while I'm at the event. We know that there's not going to be a set recording thing like the traditional way. If you get invited to an event or whatever, you'll have the option of sort of using DX Story, Shadowplay, whatever. Here, play the game for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, record your bit of gameplay, and then just go and post it, and you can talk about it. They're not really going to have that, but I know they're going to have the press in there. I know they're going to have basically everybody, so there will be recordings, and you still have your phone. I mean, my phone has like 20 million pixels. GoPro records really well, so it's going to be footage. How it's not exactly known how it's going to be sort of be done until we actually get there, but there will be footage one way or the other. So I'm really looking forward to the event. I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of the people that play the game. You know, E3's been traditionally for the industry. I mean, there's still ways to get in. You can still get invited, but mostly it's the industry that didn't get in. That they get in. It's not open to members of the public. It's expensive. It's in America. So it's refreshing to see one in Europe where you'll get to meet the actual gamers that play the game. You'll meet the fans and you'll meet sort of the people that make videos on YouTube about it and all that sort of stuff, rather than seeing 1010, IGN, whatever, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's kind of refreshing to see this being the first one in London. So yeah, that's it for me today. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Remember to post your comments about any of the games that are going to be featured there. It's probably going to be all the new ones what you normally see at E3, but that includes sort of all the esport games, Titanfall 2, Battlefield 1, and that's that. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.